Welcome, everyone. Hi, I'm Henry DeVries. I'm the CEO of Indie Books International. Welcome to the Marketing with a Book podcast. And this is where we help independent consultants and business coaches, marketing agencies attract high-paying clients by marketing with a book and a speech. So it's not marketing a book, that's an important topic, but this is marketing with a book. How do you attract these clients? And it could be serving them as a consultant, as a trainer, serving them as a paid professional speaker. Before we get going, we like to introduce some of the authors on the call and hear about their book project. First, I'd like to introduce Chris Hodges. Chris, tell us about your book and where you're from, and also a little on how it's going.
Super. Hey, everybody. My name is Chris Hodges, and I've been dutifully told to hold my book up just like this. Author of Noble Automation Now. And what I say, what I've been saying to everybody since the book came out, it's helping humans be heroes in the age of automation. It's all about using all these exciting tools in a way that serve all the stakeholders of the business. It's been a great journey since my book was published by Indie Publishing International in January. And I've had an opportunity to speak to quite a number of people. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm happy to be on this podcast and to meet additional people in the indie world.
Chris, it's fun to talk to you because when we first spoke, you wanted to do this book so you could speak and speak at a high level because your audience is the Fortune 500. And you're like the dog that caught the car. The book came out and you did get these speaking engagements and you were talking to the Fortune 500. So glad you had that success and wish you more of it. We've got Peter Prevolos on. Welcome, Peter. And tell us about your book that's coming out. And you're on mute.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's what my book looks like, but why is this interfering? I need to read Hodges's book.
It looks good to me.
Okay,
Living
good.
life to the fullest.
Okay. And my book is really a pseudo biography of my family and my accomplishments in the business world, the challenges that I was faced with over the years, and the lessons that I learned along the way. So I hope that somebody will be interested in wanting to read it and will be maybe even inspired that dreams do come true as long as you're willing to work at it.
There you go. And remember, Peter, books don't promote authors. Authors promote books. So you love your book. Now is the next thing to do is get other people to love it. So you have to do things like write and teach and speak on podcasts. And with that, we have an author with us today, a top-selling author, and he's doing just that with our podcast. I'd like to welcome John Formica. He's a customer experience coach and has an interesting background that includes Disney, and he'll tell us all about that. John, welcome to the podcast. And so tell us, what does it mean to be America's experience coach for customer relations?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Henry, for allowing me to be on this today, and especially around some great people. And I'm excited for those that have books and in the process of writing books. It's a really exciting thrill when you finally accomplish that. So I know they're all very proud, and congratulations to all. Yeah, Henry, I'm known as the ex-Disney guy and America's customer experience coach, and I got the name because I used to work for many, many years with the Disney company, managing their hotels and resorts in Orlando, Florida. My background has been, I spent over 30 years managing hotels, but I got an opportunity to work for Disney back in the late 80s and 90s, where we had only 4 hotels on a campground, but we had 16 brand new hotels on the drawing board. My job was to open up all the new hotels, hire the staff, train the staff, but more importantly, create an experience at each one of those hotels that would differentiate Disney from everyone else. And one of the things I learned from Disney, and really my passion to serve others, is that the reason why I wrote the book, the reason why I'm doing what I do is because it's not about customer service anymore. I might be America's customer experience coach. I actually got that title, and I also got a title in Australia as Australia's customer experience coach. great accolades. I'm happy for the title. But I have another one that I think is a lot more fun. I'm also known as the anti-customer service guy. And that is because I don't believe in customer service. Henry, customer service is a waste of time. Now, I get it. Most businesses, we have to serve our customers, and most do a fair job at that. But when you just provide a customer service, you won't differentiate yourself from anybody else. You can't charge high prices. You can't do the things that you need to do. And if you think of Disney, they give the best experience on planet Earth, and that's why they can charge whatever they want to charge. But it's all about the emotions and feelings of the experience, not just service. If you just provide service, you're a commodity. Anybody, I tell businesses all around the world, we need to be frank. You're no different than everybody else. You think you're better, you're not. You think your product's better, it's not. You think you do better job because you've been in business for 50 years. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's what experience can you provide me that's going to be emotional, that I'm going to want to do business with you, tell friends, and continue to do business with you. And so I wrote my book, Making the Customer Experience Magical Now, How to Succeed in Business and Beat Out Your Competition. And it's basically an action guide, not a book you put on a shelf and hang out there. After every chapter, exercises and things you can do with your team, because I wanted to give them a resource that you could create your own magical customer experience by using Disney's success strategies. And so that's kind of what I do, and I get to travel the world doing it. So I'm pretty fired up.
So John, the year is 1987. The place is Orlando, Florida. I've just toured Disney World with my family, which includes twins, with a twin stroller.
Wow.
We beat up on the trip. I mean, we went everywhere. We beat that thing up. And finally, it died at Epcot. It just died. So I took the broken stroller and set it next to the trash can at Epcot. A week later, a giant box arrived. I had left a name tag on that broken stroller, and the Disney Experience mailed it to me. I forgot my stroller at Epcot, and here it is. So we know about Disney going the extra mile.
Absolutely. What a great story. Great story.
So really curious with, taking the Disney magic and doing that, and as an author, maintaining that good relationship so that Disney doesn't unchain the attorneys on you. How do you maintain that nice relationship where they're happy that you've got two Mickeys and a magic glove in your background?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, everything I do is, my heart and soul is with the Disney company. I was a huge fan of Walt Disney way before I ever became involved with the Disney company. In fact, in 1966, when Walt Disney died of cancer, I was 10 years old, and I did a book report on Walt Disney because I was just so fascinated with him, watching it every Sunday night, The Wonderful World of Disney. And I learned a lot back then, and I continued to learn. And then as I got through college and started to work on my career in the hotel industry, I did a lot of research on what would Walt do and why did they do things. So it was a big, it wasn't a big leap, but I just love what they've done. And when I got an opportunity to actually work there, it was a dream come true. But I love the brand. I protect the brand. There is nothing in any of my material that I've crossed out the Disney name and put John Formica's name on it. I just share the Disney success model through my eyes of what I did through not only working the Disney company, but how I turned around companies and businesses around the world using the Disney success model to prove that the model works outside of the Disney structure, and how that came about. And that's kind of how the book came about. But really, again, my biggest challenge is when I speak at large events, it's how they market me. I have to make sure they don't say Disney is coming to our event. It's John Formica, the ex-Disney guy, is coming to your event.
Not
Disney.
So just a tip, John. Devin, our vice president, if there's ever like a trivia game for money about Disney, I would not play her if I were you. She's a D23. One of her benchmarks is being at a Disney park every month.
Wow.
And the aim is to go international. And if you haven't been to the Walt Disney Museum in San Francisco yet, have you been there?
No, I have
If
not.
if you haven't, you need to put that on your
Absolutely.
list, your bucket list.
Yeah.
We have also studied Disney and the magic. It's funny, we're kindred spirits because when I started our company years ago, I paid to take the team to Disneyland for the day. And they said, I'm just going to show you things all day and the magic that's here. And that is our role model. You know, Disney was
bad
an idea. It's a spirit and it lives on, and Walt's passed, and I own stock in Disney. I think I had to do it because my wife and family go so much. I just wanted to get a little something back.
Well, what's interesting is that, just what you just said, using Disney as your model, what I really speak on is if Disney ran your business, and you can fill in a blank. I don't care if Disney ran your auto service repair shop, your chiropractic business, your shoe shine, your valet, it doesn't make a difference. If Disney would run it, what would that look like? And that's what I do. I show them what Disney would do if they took over today, what they would do and how they would do it and why they would do it. But more importantly, then connect the dots on how you can do it too. And so good for you that you've taken a good role model and tried to duplicate, maybe not everything, or tweak it the way, suits your business. But those principles are the same, and they're great principles of any business, aren't they?
They are. And John, I write a column for Forbes.com, and I would love to write about you and your book, and we'll talk more about that offline.
Absolutely.
In reading some of your material, I was interested in this idea of just Disney would look at something like a little extra or one more step. Could you explain that, please?
Yeah. That's, in my opinion, that's what really, there are a few things that separate Disney from other companies. I get asked all the time, how do they do it, right? How do they do it? And they think that some magic wand, I'm just going to wave around or throw out pixie dust and it works, right? There's actually things that you have to do, but Walt Disney created an incredible philosophy that still stands today. And his philosophy was when he did animated features, and then when he went on to build Disneyland. And he called it the plus factor. And the plus factor from Walt was whatever you do, try to plus it by one. And what his meaning was, can you do this much more? Whatever it is, can you do this much? He didn't say this much more. He said this much more. And if everybody in an organization, on a team, a department, whatever the business, if everybody did this much, it will add up to a lot. And this much doesn't mean you're spending money. This much could be, I'm going to come to work with this much more energy. I'm going to smile this much more. I'm going to get to know my customers and have fun with them, engage with them this much more. I'm going to make sure the place is clean this much more. I'm going to make sure I dress this much sharper. I'm going to smile this more. I'm going to answer the phones this much faster. It goes on and on and on. But it's the factor that, can you do this much? And when his philosophy, when he did movies, and he would do a movie like Cinderella, and it would be like awesome, ready to go. And then all of a sudden he would say, no, we have to plus it by one. I don't like this scene, we got to make it better. And they go, his brother Roy would say, that's going to cost us more hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he said, no, it's got to be right. That plus one's going to make a difference. And you and I would say nobody was going to notice it. Walt knew somebody was going to notice it. And that's the plus factor. When he built Disneyland, he said, Disneyland will never be done. We're always going to do a little bit more to make it a better park, a better place to bring your family, a better place to enjoy. And so the philosophy behind that is every business can do that. And it's not just top down. When I work with businesses and help the hourly staff and the frontline staff, I try to build it up from the bottom, because they're the ones with great ideas, right? They're the front line. They know what is going to create some excitement. And so if everybody gets an opportunity to show that plus one, get recognized, get appreciated, you teach it, you train everybody, you just always keep that out front, people will do it, and that will separate you, because some of the little things that some businesses do, Henry, nobody does. And they're little things. You and I would go, that's it. But to a customer, it might be a wow. And it's a great philosophy.
For our authors who listen to our podcast and watch, notice how John did a proprietary research study. He worked at Disney, but he also studied it, and he reversed engineered these principles. So we call the principle, you can always take one more step. And and it's a universal truth. Disney made it part of their philosophy and mindset. And there are other people who are known for their customer service, Nordstrom, Ritz-Carlton. But what's a brand everybody can relate to, that, they bring magic into your life? And, actually, when you look at it, for the entertainment value, it's one of the most affordable ones there is.
Well, what's really interesting is where I talk about the customer experience is the next competitive battleground. It's where every business is going to be won and lost. I'm telling you, that's what people make decisions based on emotions and feelings. And you get those through the experience that you get from any business, or a doctor. If the doctor gives you a good experience, you'll go back, or whatever, you'll feel comfortable, whatever that might be. And so the statistic is 86% of people will spend more for a better customer experience. And you think of Disney, right? It's not cheap. We go there because we're willing to spend that money. No different than my wife and I. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're about 3 hours from the beach. Every year we go a week vacation to the ocean, right, to the beach. I have to get a condo, a home, hotel. It's got to be right on the beach, facing the ocean. And I always tell my wife, honey, we can get a lot cheaper one if we're 3 rows in. No, it's got to be on the beach, on the ocean, so she can have her cup of coffee on the balcony and watch the sunrise. Does that cost me more money? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. I'm willing to pay that money because it's a memory, it's an experience. It brings joy and happiness. If you can provide a good experience, whether it's from a book or a business, people will enjoy it.
You've mentioned a magic word here, emotion. Disney was born in Hollywood in the 1920s, and I like to call Hollywood the emotion picture capital of the world.
Yeah.
Every Disney movie was about emotions and having an emotional experience, laughing, crying, feeling noble. All these things, you go for these feelings. Sometimes it's fear. If you think about Pinocchio and Snow White and these movies, Peter Pan, there were some scary movies back in the day. And so they were experts at that. On the positive side, from your hotel experience, tell me more about how you were seeking to create positive emotions with the guests.
It's all, again, you have to, in the hotel industry, which is the hospitality industry, no different than restaurants or tourist destinations, whatever they might be, you have to have a passion to serve others. It's not an easy profession. You work holidays, you work weekends, you work your birthday, you work Christmas. It's crazy. And you have to have a passion to serve. And I believe I got that passion to serve others through my mom and dad, who are just wonderful people who had that passion to serve. Nobody was an enemy. Everyone was a friend. Everyone was welcome to the house. Come on, sit down. We have food for everybody, right? And so I grew up loving sisters, everybody with that passion to serve others. So when I made this transformation into the business world of working my way up in a career from a front desk clerk to the general manager of the largest convention hotel in the state of North Carolina, it was because of that passion to serve. Now, that passion to serve is also the passion to serve your employees and to care and to help them and develop them and to coach them, not punish them, but coach them. And all those things that all build upon building those relationships, because that's what we're in. We're in the relationship business. We have to build relationships with our bosses, with our coworkers, with our friends, with our vendors. We have to build those relationships. And you can't do that if people don't know you, if people don't know your story, if you don't become interested in them instead of being interesting in your product or service. Be interested in your customers and your staff. When you do those things, you will be liked. And when you're liked, it's an emotion. And we all like to do business with people we like, right? With people we like. We all like to read books from authors that we like, right? And so it makes sense to build those relationships. And you don't do that by just being interesting. You do that by being interested.
So well put. Invest in relationships. I just ghost wrote a piece for a CEO of a very large company where he wanted to get that message out to his people. And I interviewed him and I pulled the stories out of him on what that had meant for the company through the years. And their chief scientist was because of some relationships they had when that person was just getting out of school. And customers became associates, became customers again. And he says, it's all about the relationships. I have found in this business of being a professional author and speaker, I've always looked for the magic bullet. And I felt all my success came because of the relationships. And then I realized it's actually the relationships that is the magic bullet. So helping others, amplifying their work, just seeing how you can help and serve their community is an investment that comes back manyfold. But I've also worked with Marriott Corporation, and to your point, we say you have to have a servant's heart. You have to really do it, not like, what will I get out of this? Excellent. It has to just come from the heart that, oh, I'd like to serve these people and make them happy. Are there techniques you do in your training to help people bring this out?
Well, yes, I try to help them focus on the why, right? Not the what and the how. That's what they get trained for. That's what they get paid for. What I want to help them is why do it? You know, why, Disney's why and their purpose is to make people happy. That's what they do. And that's why they do it. So think about it. If you don't want to make people happy, you're not going to survive working for Disney. That's just not going to work. In fact, what Disney will do is if you want to work for Disney, before you fill out an application, you have to watch a video. And in the video, they will tell you that the sole reason why we're going to hire you, if you're lucky, no matter what job you get hired for, but the reason why we're hiring you is to make people happy. And you're going to work weekends and holidays and Christmas Day, and they start talking about the grooming guidelines and just all these things. And then what happens is 15% of people walk out the door and they don't want to work for Disney. And Disney doesn't think that they're bad people or they're not going to be successful in life, but it's a way of really just eliminating the people that don't want to make people happy. Because how could you work for Disney if you don't want to make people happy? If you're there for a job and benefits, people will know that pretty quickly. And so what I try to tie is the purpose for every business. If it's to make a difference in the life of a child, that could be the purpose of a teacher. When I do programs for schools, I do a program, if Disney ran your school, what would it look like? And for principals and assistant principals, administrators. But if you ask a teacher what your purpose is, they'll say to teach, educate, give them lifelong skills, prepare them for college, help them graduate. No, that's your job. But how many teachers do we know, Henry, that have lost that purpose, right? They lost the reason why they wanted to get in teaching in the first place. And that is because they want to make a difference in the life of a child. And when you can tie in the why, then it's in your heart. And Walt Disney created a great character. I'm sure Devin knows who this character is, but it's a character that reminded us every day at Disney why we worked at Disney. It reminded us every day. Devin, do you know who it is? It's kind of a hard question, so I don't expect you to know it. You will know it once I tell you. Jiminy Cricket.
I was going to say, is it Jiminy Cricket?
It's Jiminy Cricket, Henry. And what did Jiminy Cricket say? He said, when your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. Think about it. When your heart's in it, you do it because you want to, not because you have to. And if I know why I'm doing it, because a passion to serve or to make people happy or to make a difference in the life of a child, when it's in my heart, nobody has to tell me to come in early. Nobody has to tell me to make sure my lesson plans are great. Nobody has to tell me to smile. Nobody has to tell me to pick up trash. I do it because I want to, not because I have to. And leadership is about developing an environment so you're not in that babysitting business anymore. You create the environment where they want to do it. And when I worked at Disney, we didn't walk around with big sticks, beating people over the heads. We created the environment. And that's what I try to do with leaders that I teach and help.
Of course, John, when you exit the backstage and go out, there are the mirrors and the signs to tell you that you're a cast member and you're going on stage. Even the guy with the broom and the little pan sweeping up.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, this summer, last summer I was there, and it was the woman who had that duty. You know, they dress in white and they have, and I'm just sitting down watching, but she sets down the little pan, and then there's a piece of wadded up paper 10 feet away. She stands over the wadded piece of paper like a golfer, and the broom is the club. She looks at the line, she looks at the angle, she sees the break, you know, slightly bends knees, head straight, follow through, and the paper rolls into the pan. And I had to run up to her and say, okay, that was so great. She was doing her job, but to make people happy. She made people happy watching her pick up trash. And what an amazing part. She definitely knew her purpose.
Well, if you think about it, Disney did some research and they found out that the person that walks around with the dustpan and broom, in many cases, is the #1 person that gets asked more questions than anybody else in the park. Why? They're so visible, right?
Right.
They're always walking around. So they don't give that job to anybody. You have to actually pass a test to qualify to be considered for that job. And think of most industries. Where do we put that custodial person? The lowest person on the totem pole. And Disney says, no. This is one of the highest people because they are the face of our company, right? That's how you got to look at it that way.
That's a great reminder, because we've had great conversations with those people and photo ops and all sorts of things. And everyone I have met has just been an exceptional representative.
Absolutely.
So John, I've got to do my fanboy story here.
Yeah, please.
So in business school, we also studied Disney and Walt and Roy. So if those of you don't know, they were brothers, and Walt is the dreamer and the creative. Roy makes the trains run on time. Roy makes the things happen. Roy gets the money. So it was a great partnership. And Devin took me to a D23 convention, and this is for the Disney insiders. And there was a little tent set up, kind of something inside, and this person, kind of a guard that you had to talk to before you go in. And I said, well, what's inside? And she said, oh, this is a drawing, the first drawing of Disneyland that Roy Disney took to the bankers. And I said, oh my gosh, it's the original Disney drawing that Roy took to New York. And they, oh, you know about this? And I said, yeah, because the story was one of the Imagineers was brought in on a Friday, and Walt told them about what Disneyland was going to be. And he says, Walt, I can't wait to see it. He said, see it? We're going to draw it this weekend. Roy has to fly to New York on Monday to meet the money people. And this was, a fortune was created by this one drawing. So I've interviewed Disney people and I've written about Disney. I own stock. So when I write about Disney in Forbes, I have to disclaim that I am a shareholder in Disney. And I mean, I'm the smallest shareholder they have, I'm pretty sure, but I have to disclaim that. But I'm just so interested in all these stories and the really lessons that they give, like you'd give.
Yeah, in reading about Walt was an incredible dreamer, as you said, incredible dreamer, great visionary, could see things way before anybody else could, right? And and Roy was his really his sidekick that really kept the company going, because he was the financial and the management. And when I learned more about Walt, I found out Walt couldn't manage his way out of a paper bag. I mean, he was terrible, but he was a great leader. And you go, when I teach that, people go, how can you be a better leader? Well, there's a difference, as you know, between leader and management. But leader's about inspiring people. Leader's about personal appeal. Leader's about wisdom. Leader's about competency. Leader's about making good judgment. That's what Walt did. He did all that stuff, but he had a sidekick from Roy. Interesting, when I was at Disney during the 80s and 90s, Michael Eisner was our CEO.
Yes.
And for whatever people like Mike, didn't like him, liked him, whatever it was, I think, in my personal opinion, I think he was the closest thing to Walt that there ever was, as far as that visionary. He saw everything, and his challenge was he wanted to do everything now, like right now. And he had, his sidekick was Frank Wells. They came together, and Frank Wells was the manager of the finance. He was the Roy. He was a spitting image of the Roy, right? And when Frank Wells passed away in the helicopter crash, I think the demise of Michael Eisner was he never replaced him. He thought he could do both.
Yeah.
And leadership is about knowing what role you play and what role you shouldn't play, right? Walt knew he shouldn't be dealing with the financial aspects of things and the management and negotiations. Just be Walt, because you're great at what you do, Walt, right? And so those are great things. And that, you're absolutely right. Walt was the visionary. He saw the people see things and emotions and feelings and pictures and video, whatever it was. That's how he was going to sell his movies, right? In Disneyland.
There's a story that Walt had his up and down days. And when he would come into the studios in Burbank, if he was in a mood, and when he passed, the receptionist would get on the phone and call back to the creative department and said, "Man is in the forest." And that was their code from Bambi, that Walt's here and he's in a mood. So, lay low. Somebody I've helped write a book about, we talked about that experience where a leader also needs to know that their attitude when they walk in is reflected. There's another story from Disney about an executive who was having a bad day in the Burbank studios, and somebody sent him, you need to go to Disneyland and just sit for a while, just hang out for a while. Now, I don't know if that story is true or apocryphal, but the idea is getting back to your purpose. So what's our purpose here? To make people happy. Look at the trash picker-upper who's doing photo ops with people. And now do you feel like getting back to work? When I was the president of an ad agency, we had something unfair happen. A client fired us and I got sent home for the day. My boss said, when you're happy, you can come back, because they're all looking to you for leadership. They want to read your mood.
Absolutely. I always tell people in my workshops, I say, are you a thermometer or a thermostat? And the thermometer just tells you what the temperature is, right? So you could walk into any room, any business, and I can get a temperature reading. And I'm not talking degrees. I'm talking about energy, engagement, enthusiasm, attention to detail, cleanliness. You can measure all that with a thermometer, but there's nothing you can do about it. But leaders need to be that thermostat. They need to set that temperature. They need to come in with that attitude and that caringness, that attention to detail, all the things that need to be done, because that's where we look to. We look for them for guidance.
John, let's go in one last direction. You've been very generous with your time. We certainly appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Advice to authors and speakers. You've learned some things along the way as an author and a speaker. What would you recommend in that area to our authors and speakers?
I think you said it really well when you said, just because you have a book doesn't mean you've arrived, right? You got to market the book, and you can market the book through speaking, coaching, training, online, whatever it is you might be. But when you want to market the book, it's no different than marketing a business. Talk about the benefits of reading the book, not what's in the book. Don't talk about, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about that. I've had 100 years in this, and I used to be #1 in this, and I'm going to be sharing that story. Those are great things. I'm not disregarding that, but what's the benefit of reading your book? What am I going to get out of that? That's your marketing. No different than a business, right? I don't go to a chiropractor because he's got a license and he's got a nice certificate on the wall. I go because I have a bad back and I want to be fixed because I'm tired of getting up in the morning and hurting, right?
Yeah.
If you can do that and convince me you can do that, you got me, right? So it's marketing those sort of things. And if you're going to speak, which I do and coach, you want to weave your book in your talk so that it becomes, boy, a must-have by the end of the event. Now, that doesn't mean, mentioning your book and holding your book up while you're speaking, because then it comes across being a salesperson or infomercial. You don't want to do that. But you can do various different things that talk about what's in your book, but don't tell them everything, because then there's no reason for them to buy the book or use the book. So those are the things to do. But the book definitely brings you credibility. I like to give books away. It's your business card. I don't worry about, gee, it cost this much. Listen, if I get a book in someone's hands, I don't know where it might go next. It could be the next $1 million contract. Who knows, right?
Right.
I'm willing to. So your book is a marketing piece. It's not a tool. It's a marketing tool to help you achieve in your business. So don't be afraid to do that. Give the book away or discount it, whatever it is, because the more people have it, the more people will read it. Right?
At a minimum, we recommend you mail 20 books a month to people who can make a difference. This is going to cost you $200 a month as a business development tool, and you're putting it in the hands of people who book speakers to talk to your target audience. You're
Right.
giving it to podcasters who reach your target audience, and you give it to people who actually might hire you for your service. So you're planting 20 seeds a month. And if anyone is worth planting one seed with, plant 3. Also, reach out to them on LinkedIn or reach out to them with a personal letter or a postcard, or reach out to them with a phone call. Oh, nobody answers their phone. They have voicemail, and you can leave a short voicemail to reach out to them.
Yeah, absolutely powerful. And again, when I'm self-published, and when I get my books, I always have this conversation with my accountant. It goes in the advertising budget. And he's like, no, it's an expense. It's an advertising marketing expense. That's where it goes.
Yeah,
So,
it's not cost of goods sold. It's business development, marketing and advertising.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not an accountant. Please see your accountant. All decisions remain yours. Void were prohibited. God bless America. But yeah, as a publisher and an MBA, that's my advice too.
Good advice. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Sure. And so are commissions. Commissions are a business development expense. That's where they belong.
That's right.
John, thank you so much. I guess we didn't start the recording, so I'll just ask it. John, are you related to the Formica fortune, the countertops? Did you ever interact with Formica? Tell us, we want to know.
I'm sorry to disappoint anybody out there who cares, but no, I have nothing to do with that. I joke and tell people, I let my dad run that company and I run my own, and that usually gets them to think. And then I go, no, sorry, we had nothing to do with it. It's a form of mica. That's the company name that they came about. But my name is Formica, really in Italian. It means the little ant. They have no relationship at all to anything. So, but it's, I used it once in a while in college to make me, let the girls think I had money. So it worked. Sometimes it worked.
I would, at restaurants, I'd put my name in as Rockefeller. And you know what? You get a table right away, by the way, if you put Rockefeller on the list.
Love it.
Okay, yeah. The following was not approved by the Rockefeller family. and does not indicate endorsement or sponsorship. Okay, John, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience today. It was so great. And I would like to get a copy of that book and
Absolutely.
look at to writing up. I think there's some great stuff we could write in Forbes.com about this.
Love to, love to.
Very enjoyable to meet you today. Thanks for the wisdom for our authors and speakers. So that's it for the Marketing with
The
a Book
title of his book
podcast.
again?
John,
Making the customer experience magical now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
and he indie published that book, by the way. He didn't self-publish it, he indie published it.
That's right.
Only crazy grandpas self-publish books anymore. So that's one of my bits, John. It's just, you don't need an indie publisher like us to indie publish a book. It's just more of a matter of you're going to get professional help to bring this out, and you're going to retain the control of the intellectual property.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's even more important than the fact that you make more money with an independently published book than you do with a traditionally published book.
And you know, when I wrote my book, I didn't have a clue, and that was the big thing. If you don't know what to do, you don't know how to do it, which means you're not going to do it, right? You're not going to do it. You're going to put it on that back burner because it's uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I don't know even where to start. And luckily I had somebody who helped me and took the reins. He said, you just write, you just record your seminars and workshops, and we got a book. Don't worry about it. We'll get this done in no time. And through his help, I got it, and it's like great. Right, on to the next one.
We call that the talk to text strategy. I helped a CEO of one of the top 10 pharmas last year write his book, and he was in the middle of curing COVID. So what we did was he liked to go on a walk every day, and I just prepped him with an outline, had him record his thoughts. I transcribed it, cleaned it up, and voila, we had a book. Yeah,
there's a book.
there you go. So
everybody thinks their book has to be this really thick thing where some professor from Harvard is going to use it in their theory studies. Just get it out. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to win any awards. It just needs to give information that people need and want. And you're going to be helpful. That's why we write books, because we want to help people learn or whatever it is. It'll work. It'll work.
Gee, it sounds like purpose to me.
That's right.
John, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. This has been the Marketing with a Book podcast, and we'll see you on a future episode. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.